Now, the climate change crisis is happening whether or not we are ready to deal with it. Earlier, I spoke to a former climate chief at the United Nations. Patricia Espinosa says this crisis must be met whatever other challenges, geopolitical or otherwise, also confront us.
Although we are conscious of all these challenges, we cannot wait to have an uneventful year to act on climate change. We have to also acknowledge that climate change is posing this terrible existential threat to all of us. Not to the planet, actually. We frequently say...
Pardon me for cutting in, Ms. Espinosa.
Yeah. Yes, please.
The warning
please.
of this being an existential crisis, we hear it every time someone of any consequence like yourself delivers a statement on our actions or lack of actions on the climate crisis. It appears no one is listening if we look at what is being done to address this climate crisis. Does that strike you as odd?
Well, you know, I think we do need to acknowledge that we have made progress since Paris, that we have made progress also since the time that the convention was adopted. However, I don't want to sound complacent, and it is true. We are absolutely clear, and science is telling us that we are not yet there where we need to be, and we are actually very far from there. So what I would say that is that we need to come to this conference. We need leaders to come to this conference with a different mindset, with this consciousness that investing in climate action is investing in their own future, in their own community's future, and that it is not about, helping others, that there is no way that anybody alone can overcome this incredible challenge. So this is, in my mind, what needs to happen. We need to see this new ambition by all leaders to work together to, in spite of so many other problems that we are all individually facing, to put the interest of humankind above the immediate interest, because at the end it will hit us all.
All right, Ms. Espinosa, you mentioned the Paris climate deal. Now, that was adopted in the COP21 in Paris in 2015. Now, if we look back at then, I was struck looking at pictures from that particular summit, the jubilation, the celebration, and also the leaders who turned up there. So we had Barack Obama, we had Xi Jinping, we had, in fact, Vladimir Putin being very cordial with the German Chancellor. Now, this time, COP28, you do not have either the US or China, their leaders turning up. You've got their climate envoys instead. China's climate envoy, in fact, going to retire next month. What does this say about the world's major emitters if they cannot even send their top men to this very important meeting?
Well, I would say that, first of all, I do want to emphasize the incredible contributions that the two envoys, the U.S. envoy, John Kerry, and the China envoy, Minister Xi, have done together to the process for many, many years. And it has been really, in many ways, leadership by China and the U.S. that has helped put together many of the deals that have brought the process forward. Now, having said that, yes, of course, the presence of the leaders is always a very powerful message. At the same time, I would say that what we need to see now, beyond the presence of leaders, is the actions, the commitments, especially, for example, on finance, because finance is the catalyser for climate action. So we would need to see the willingness to fulfill the commitments that developed countries have made about finance, but beyond that also to increase contributions towards adaptation, and of course now towards the new loss and damage fund that we of course hope will be established here at COP28 in Dubai.
All right, let's pick up with the loss and damage fund. Now, that was agreed upon to set up this fund in the last COP, so that was last year in Sharm el-Sheikh. It was to set up this fund, which is different from other funds because it helps developing countries actually cope with the effects of climate change that they see right now. Now, the easy part was last year, agreeing to have this fund. This year, they have to actually set it up, and actually put money in it?
I do hope that this recommendation can be adopted. I think it would show a good progress in a very difficult issue. And you were mentioning that the easy part was agreeing to having the fund. And I would say, actually, I'm not sure if I can agree with you on that, because it was a big political decision for many countries to accept to have a loss and damage fund, particularly the ones that know that once the fund is established, they will have even more pressure to be providing funds against that. I do hope that the recommendations by the Transitional Committee are accepted. It would mean that all developing countries, as you say, could benefit from that fund, but also a very important feature that they could benefit not only through their national governments, but also through their local governments, local authorities, and even communities could benefit from that. That's a very, very novel feature of the recommendations that we see in the document that has emerged from the Transitional Committee.
So when you talk about finance, there are many areas in which we can see progress. So for example, on adaptation, on mitigation, on loss and damage fund as well, where at the very least you need to see actual money being put where the mouths are in this particular COP28. Final question.
Yes, I think we need to see the money coming in, of course, for the loss and damage fund, because a fund without money, is not going to be able to make any good. And we also need to see money going into the international financial organizations like the World Bank and the regional development banks, but not only money coming in, at the same time also a new way of operating that really makes financing accessible to those who need it.